والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه. Tonight, inshallah, we begin from page 23. We talk about al-jihadu wal-wala'u wal-hukm. Let's begin at where we stopped. هل تجوز موالاة الكفار ونصرتهم? That's the end of the page 23. هل تجوز موالاة الكفار ونصرتهم? Meaning, is it permissible, is it acceptable, is it allowed to have muwalat, meaning the love for al-kuffar, non-believers, وَنُصْرَتِهِمْ, and is it allowed, is it permissible, is it acceptable to help them? لا تجوز موالاة الكفار ونصرتهم لقوله عز وجل ومن يتولهم منكم فإنه منهم. And we explained this part briefly last week, that it is not allowed, it is not acceptable, it is not permissible to have muwalat, that is love and loyalty for non-believers. It is not permissible to prefer them over the believing men and believing women. And I explained this last week briefly, that it is very important to explain this in the context that you do not prefer the kuffar over the believers. Some people, with all due respect, for whatever reason, sometimes make blank statement and general statement, saying that, for example, non-Muslims are better than Muslims, as a general statement. That's not acceptable. That's not permissible. However, I get it. You can say that some kuffar, have good manners, have good character, have good attitude, blah, blah, blah. Explain your point, but don't make general statement. Because the person who says, La ilaha illallah, Muhammad Rasulullah is the best. Worshipping Allah Azza wa Jal without ascribing partners in worship with Him. Now I get it. There are some people, we all know that in our own backyard, in our own communities, we have some Muslims acting out very bad, lying and cheating and doing all that. We know that it's not right according to Islamic teachings. We know that some Muslim leaders, they don't do right by their own constituents, by their own people, and so forth. So we can go on and on and on. So when you make a point or make your statement, you just have to stick to the point and make it clear as much as you can. So the point here is that you cannot have love and loyalty for the kuffar. It means that so much so that you prefer the non-believers over the believers. So much so that you work with the non-believers against the Muslims, fighting the Muslims and killing the Muslims. That's not right. That's not the right course to follow. It's not. But, and I give example, you go to school, you have, non-Muslim schoolmates, you have co-workers, you have neighbors and so forth who are non-Muslims. Does it mean that you don't reach out? You don't say, hello, how are you? How's the family? How's work? It's a beautiful day, so forth. That's nothing wrong with that. And Allah Azza wa Jalla mentioned, لا ينهاكم الله عن الذين لم يقاتلوكم في الدين ولم يخرجوكم من دياركم. Al-ayah. Allah Azza wa Jalla does not forbid you to be kind, to be generous, to be just to those who do not fight you because of your religion. So the prohibition here is that, seriously, when you are at war with people who fight you because of your religion, People who hate you because of your deen and so forth. People who fight Islam and fight Muslims. You don't have love and loyalty for such people. But other than that, as laymen, people who are just, neighbors and friends and co-workers, they have right upon us. And it is a duty upon us to reach out and impart our akhlaq, our own character, can go a long way, as a tool of da'wah. Your good character, the way you carry yourself, the way you reach out, you be nice, hey, you need any help? I have some snack. Would you like to eat some? There's nothing wrong with that. To share a snack with a non-Muslim, to share a meal with a non, that's nothing wrong with that. I understand the hadith, وَلَا يَأْكُلُ طَعَامَكَ إِلَّا تَقِي. I get it. But I'm saying this to say that when you have a nice approach and a good approach in reaching out, and people say, MashaAllah, you have a good character. And then that might be, inshallah, a pathway, to soften some folks' heart. Especially al-mu'allafatu qulubuhum, folks who are inclined towards Islam and so forth. لا تجوز موالاة الكفار ونصرتهم. And I explained that you might have someone who is a non-Muslim. He needs help. Can you help him out? Can you give him some food? Someone is a homeless. He's not a Muslim. Someone called me and said, Abu Eyman, can I help someone who is a non-Muslim? He wants me to during my days of rest. He's moving. To give him a helping hand and support him. Sure, absolutely, nothing wrong with that. Yes. The ayah here in Surah Al-Ma'idah, ayah 51, Allah Azza wa Jalla mentioned, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. يا أيها الذين آمنوا لا تتخذوا اليهود والنصارى أولياء بعضهم أولياء بعض ومن يتولهم منكم فإنه منهم إن الله لا يهدي القوم الظالمين. يا أيها الذين آمنوا, O you who believe, لا تتخذوا اليهود والنصارى أولياء. Take not al-Yahud wal-Nasara, the Jew and the Christians, awliya, as allies, as supporters, as friends. Don't do that. بعضهم أولياء بعض. They are friends of one another. They support one another. They strengthen one another. بعضهم أولياء بعض. ومن يتولهم منكم فإنه منهم. Whosoever would, be part of them, help them out, support them, associate with them, and so forth. فإنه منهم. He is one of them. إن الله لا يهدي القوم الظالمين. Verily, Allah Azza wa Jalla guides not people who are, wrong people, zalimin, wrongdoers, and so forth. But as I explained, there is nothing haram, there is nothing prohibited to reach out, keep, relationship. You know what I'm saying? Build a relationship and so forth. Get to know people around you, in your surrounding, in your community, and so forth. There is nothing prohibited to work for greater good in the community. We have Jewish community. We have Christian community. We have our community. If there is anything we can do together, for greater good of our community, there is nothing wrong with that. To have a luncheon, a meeting, have people of faith or representatives from all different communities to work together. There is nothing wrong with that. Now, giving different example, we have someone in the community who is running to be, let's say that a mayor of the community or governor of the community, Islamically. Is it permissible for us to choose someone who is non-Muslim, as a leader of the community? You know better. We are aqaliyah, as a minority, if the needs demand, we don't have anyone who is running who happens to be a Muslim, but those who are running are non-Muslims. Can we choose someone? The answer is that we choose someone that we feel that he will work in the best interest of the community at large. Yes, I'm saying this very carefully. I understand that you have differences of opinion. You know what I'm saying? You might have some scholars who say, no, qawlan wahida. You know what I mean? It's haram. You don't promote, you don't support, you don't strengthen, you don't choose, you don't vote for a non-Muslim and so forth, I say, yeah, I get it. But listen, we live in a community whereby we cannot live in a segregation. And if we don't vote as a Muslim community, guess what? We have no say. We have no influence. But if those who run for, for office, they know that, hey, we have, mashallah, Muslim community. And they vote. They are very active. They're very instrumental. They will come to our community. They will speak with us. They will ask for our vote. And we tell them, okay, Muslim community, we also need this. We need that. So it is a win-win for the community. And قاعدة أخف الضررين applies here. If you have two people, you choose the least of the two evils. You see who is the least of the two evils. So the bottom line is that, we cannot just sit and just say we don't vote, we don't do anything. I respectfully disagree with the scholars who cut it out and say that you don't vote, you don't do anything, you just, be in your corner. No, we have to reach out. We have a lot to do. And we know better because we live here and we know what we're going through as minority in other ethnicities. Now, in the hadith, the Prophet ﷺ said, "Inna ala bani fulan laysu bi awliyai." The clan and the family of such and such, laysu bi awliyai. They're not my friends. They're not my friends. They're not supporting us. They're not, people who, have our interest, at best. So basically, that's what I'm talking about. People you can work with. People who, consider you to be a foe, to be an enemy, to be a threat, and so forth. So you have to be very mindful and walk a fine line. Man huwa al-wali? Well, let me stop here for a second. Do you have any question regarding what we just talked about? About, loving and loyalty for non-Muslims and so forth. Any question about that? طيب. Man huwa al-wali? Who is al-wali? Al-waliyu huwa al-mu'minu at-taqi. The word wali, it means a person who is a believer, a believing person, male or female. At-taqi, the person who has taqwa, fear of Allah Azza wa Jal. Allah stated in Surah Yunus, ألا إن أولياء الله لا خوف عليهم ولا هم يحزنون الذين آمنوا وكانوا يتقون ألا إن أولياء الله لا خوف عليهم ولا هم يحزنون. Verily, the awliya of Allah, which means that those who are dutiful and obedient to Allah Azza wa Jal, لا خوف عليهم. There shall be no fear on them. لا خوف عليهم. There shall be no fear on them. ولا هم يحزنون. Nor shall they grieve. It means that when a good person, good people like you, someone who is dutiful and obedient to Allah Azza wa Jal, following the teaching of Islam, when he or she is going through sakaratul maut, through the agonies of death, angels will descend. The person will see angels as far as their eyes can see. They will take place. They will take their seat. They will take their position. And then, Malakul Maut, the angel of death, will come down. And that's the process. And then he will command the soul, أيتها النفس الطيبة, O good soul, اخرجي إلى مغفرة من الله ورضوان. Come out to the forgiveness of your Lord and His pleasure. He will speak to the soul, and the soul will come out easily, and he will take the soul. And the angels who were there, some of them had shroud from Jannah, from heaven, cloth from Jannah, and misk, fragrance from Jannah. And they will take the soul from him, put it in the shroud, and wrap it up, and together they will fly up. And that's why when someone dies, you will see his eyes staring, looking up, because the soul, the eye follows the soul. So long story short, when someone is dying, two things occurs. First, he or she, has khawf and huzn. Khawf is fear. Why? He doesn't know, or she doesn't know what is ahead. You know what I'm saying? He or she doesn't know what is ahead of him or her. And second, the person is worried for what he or she leaves behind, meaning family. That's what Allah Azza wa Jalla mentioned in the Quran. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. إن الذين قالوا ربنا الله ثم استقاموا تتنزل عليهم الملائكة ألا تخافوا تتنزل عليهم الملائكة ألا تخافوا ولا تحزنوا وأبشروا بالجنة التي كنتم توعدون نحن أولياؤكم في الحياة الدنيا وفي الآخرة ولكم فيها ما تشتهي أنفسكم ولكم فيها ما تدعون نزلا من غفور رحيم. إن الذين قالوا ربنا الله. Verily, those who say ربنا الله, our Rabb, our Lord is Allah. ثم استقاموا, and then they stood firm. Istaqamu, they stood firm. And istiqama means that to be on the path of the deen, to be on the religion of Islam. No addition, no subtraction. You follow, do the best you can. ثم استقاموا تتنزل عليهم الملائكة. When it's time for them to depart the life of this world, when it's time for them to die, تتنزل عليهم الملائكة. The angels descend down upon them, giving them glad tidings, good news. ألا تخافوا, do not be afraid. ولا تحزنوا, do not grieve, do not worry for what you leave behind. So ألا تخافوا, don't be afraid. So they calm them down and give them good news that is going to be good for them. It's going to be all right. وَلَا تَحْزَنُوا, and that do not worry, do not grieve because of the family you leave behind you. وَأَبْشِرُوا بِالْجَنَّةِ الَّتِي كُنْتُمْ تُوعَدُونَ, and have glad tidings, Jannah, with paradise, that which you have been promised. And the ayah goes on and on. So here, أَلَا إِنَّ أَوْلِيَاءَ اللَّهِ لَا خَوْفٌ عَلَيْهِمْ وَلَا هُمْ يَحْزَنُونَ. The awliya of Allah, those who are dutiful and obedient to Allah Azza wa Jalla, and those who have taqwa, لَا خَوْفٌ عَلَيْهِمْ, there shall be no fear on them when they are dying. وَلَا هُمْ يَحْزَنُونَ, nor shall they grieve. الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا. So Allah explains, who are the awliya? Who are those? الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا, those who believe. We talk about the Eyman. Al-Eyman an tu'mina billah wa malaikatihi wa kutubihi wa rusulihi wal yawmil akhir wa tu'mina bil qadari khayrihi wa sharrihi. We explained that in Hadith Jibreel. الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا, those who believe. وَكَانُوا يَتَّقُونَ, and they had taqwa. So when you have Eyman, you have to have taqwa. Taqwa is evident, it's a proof for your Eyman. الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَكَانُوا يَتَّقُونَ. وقال صلى الله عليه وسلم, in the hadith, the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم said, إنما ولي الله وصالح المؤمنين. My wali is Allah. إنما ولي الله. Allah Azza wa Jalla is the only helper for me. So إنما أداة حصر. ولي الله. إنما means beside Allah I have no wali. Allah Azza wa Jalla is my only wali. So wali, you can give it meaning, it's my helper, it's my sustainer, it's my, provider. I mean, he provides for me my sustenance, my livelihood. He protects me, he supports me. Allah is my wali. وَصَالِحُ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ. And also my friends are the good followers. صَالِحُ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ. Obedient and righteous, believing men and believing women. Why? Because we are all in this together. We are all dutiful and obedient to Allah Azza wa Jal. So we are helpers of one another. We are supporters of one another. That's what Allah Azza wa Jal mentioned. وَالْمُؤْمِنُونَ وَالْمُؤْمِنَاتُ بَعْضُهُمْ أَوْلِيَاءُ بَعْضٍ. Al-ayah. Is there any question here? Yes, please. تفضل. نعم. نعم. Jazakallah khair. So brother is asking a question regarding the soul, when soul leaves the body. So he asked that, so when soul leaves the body to the heavens, what time does the soul comes back to the soul? According to authentic narration, as I mentioned, that Malakul Maut will take the soul by the permission of Allah Azza wa Jalla, and then the soul will go up. The angels will escort the soul to the lowest heaven, and they will ask permission to go through. The angels and the guards of the lowest heaven will ask, who are you? And they will say, we are from this part of the world. We have the soul of such and such. They will mention the person's name, male or female. They will mention his or her good name. So they will open the gate for them, and the angels will escort them to the next heaven. And the same process. They will ask permission, and then they will be asked, who are you? They say, we are from here. We have from this mission. We have the soul of such, a sister or such brother. And then they will make dua for the body. They open the gate, and then the angels also will escort them all the way till Allah Azza wa Jalla will give permission and say, return the soul of my slave to his body. So when the person is buried in his grave, the soul will come back. The soul will come back to the body. And as we know from authentic narration, two angels, Munkar and Nakir, will sit the person up. Will sit the person, the deceased, up. And they will ask questions. First they will say to him, listen, your people are leaving you. The Prophet ﷺ said, فَإِنَّهُ يَسْمَعُ قَرَعَ نِعَالِهِمْ. He or she will literally hear the footsteps of the people leaving. That is the beginning. That is called al-hayatul barzakhiyya, the life after death. And the person will be asked questions. Man Rabbuk? Who is your Lord? What's your religion? Who was that person who was sent to you? How did you know that? A good person will answer, Allahu Rabbi, Allah is my Lord. Al-Islamu dini, Islam is my religion. And he will say, Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is my prophet. They ask me, how did you know that? What book was sent to you? So the Quran, he said, Qara'atu kitab Allah. I recited the book of Allah and I believed in it. So he will have all the answers. That's what Allah Azza wa Jalla mentioned about this. يثبت الله الذين آمنوا بالقول الثابت في الحياة الدنيا وفي الآخرة ويضل الله الظالمين ويفعل الله ما يشاء. يثبت الله الذين آمنوا. Allah Azza wa Jalla will give the thabat. The thabat means to strengthen the foothold and strengthen the faith of those who are good believers. في الحياة الدنيا, in the life of this world. So the person will live upon Islam, live as a Muslim, And when he or she dies, he or she will die upon Islam. So Allah will give the person, alaykum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Allah Azza wa Jalla will give the person the thabat, the steadfastness in the life of this world and in the grave. So much so that the person will have the eloquence and the ability to answer to the angels, to answer the questions of al-akhirah. وَيُضِلُّ اللَّهُ الظَّالِمِينَ وَيَفْعَلُ اللَّهُ مَا يَشَاءُ. So to answer the question, the soul will come back to the body after the burial in the grave. Now, another question, similar question, well, what about if the person is not going to be in the grave? The person is going to be cremated. It happens. Some people are cremated. You know what I'm saying? Allah Azza wa Jalla has the ability to do all things. So the person will be questioned regardless whether the person is cremated or the person is buried in the grave. Don't worry about that. The people of Fir'aun, when they drowned in the sea, Allah Azza wa Jalla mentioned, النار يعرضون عليها غدوا وعشيا ويوم تقوم الساعة أدخلوا آل فرعون أشد العذاب. النار means the hell was exposed to them غدوا وعشيا, in the morning and in the evening. I mean, they were punished after death. غدوا وعشيا ويوم تقوم الساعة, and the day when the hour will be established, I mean the Qiyamah will be established. أدخلوا آل فرعون أشد العذاب. Allah Azza wa Jalla will give his command that enter, admit the people of Fir'aun into the painful and humiliating punishment. So this means that the first punishment is in dunya. النار يعرضون عليها غدوا وعشيا. And Allah said, وَيَوْمَ تَقُومُ السَّاعَةِ. So يَوْمَ تَقُومُ السَّاعَةِ will be the punishment in the hereafter. But here, this is a strong dalil about the punishment of the grave. Some people wonder that there is no punishment in the grave. Some people do not believe in عذاب القبر ونعيمه, the punishment and the pleasure in the grave. But there are ayat, as I mentioned, and hadith which are authentic. And it's part of the Eyman that you believe that there is punishment in the grave and there is pleasure in the grave. I mentioned one time about Sa'd bin Mu'adh. When he died, the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam mentioned that inna lil-qabri dhamma law naja minha ahad lanaja minha Sa'd bin Mu'adh, that verily al-qabr, the grave, has dhamma. Dhamma is to hug or to embrace. You know, like, you know, someone travel, he comes home, you give him a big old hug, you know, and welcome him home and so forth. Inna lil-qabri dhamma. The grave has the hug. Everyone according to his iman, according to his faith, according to his deed. You know what I'm saying? لَوْ نَجَى مِنْهَا أَحَدٍ. If there were anyone who would be, you know, immune, who would be, you know, exonerated, someone who will, you know, be exempted, you know, go away from the punishment, from the dhamma, the hug or embrace of the qabr, لَنَجَى مِنْهَا سَعْدُ بْنُ مُعَاذ. The Prophet ﷺ said, Sa'd ibn Mu'adh would have been freed, would have been relieved from it. But it does not necessarily mean that that was a punishment. You know what I'm saying? Because every person has his iman, has his faith. So a good person will have a good hug and a good embrace. And the bad person who dies upon kufr and shirk, the hug of the grave would be a torture. So much so that the bones will break down. All the bones will break into pieces, into dust. And the person, Allah Azza wa Jalla, will create him anew. Because after death, khalas, there is no death. You know what I mean? After death, there is no death. So there is na'im al-qabr and there is adhab al-qabr. Na'am. Na'am, faddal.
Soul And then when he go, the soul, when it's good, you go in seventh heaven, and then the soul will make sujood, say, Allahumma anta salam, wa minka as-salam, tabarakta ya dhal jalali wal ikram, and Allah said, uktubi abdi illiyin.
A brother is saying that he heard that when someone dies, if the person is good, the soul will go all the way to Aliyin. First, the soul will go and make sujood. Brother is saying that the soul will go and make a prostration, make sujood to Allah Azza wa Jal, and Allah Azza wa Jalla will give a decree, will give a command that prescribe and write, that the soul of my slave be in Aliyin, in elevation, in higher status. If someone is bad, Allah Azza wa Jalla will command the soul to go to the hell and to the punishment and so forth. Well, as I mentioned, the soul departs. The soul leaves the body. There is no doubt about it. Now, a good soul will go all the way. As I mentioned, authentic narration. And Allah Azza wa Jalla will give a command that return the soul of my slave to his body. منها خلقناكم. He will say, فإني منها خلقتهم. منها خلقناهم وفيها نعيدهم ومنها نخرجهم تارة أخرى. So the soul will go to the body for the questions and so forth. Now, after this process, it is authentic that the soul of the believers will be in pleasure. It's authentic. The soul of believers will be in pleasure. And the soul of the bad people, the kuffar and the mushrikun who die upon shirk, will be in punishment. There is also explanation that the soul of the non-believers who died upon kufr and shirk will not go all the way similar to the soul of the believers. Why? Allah mentioned, لا تفتح لهم أبواب السماء ولا يدخلون الجنة حتى يلج الجمل في سم الخياط. لا تفتح لهم أبواب السماء. Mean the gates of the heavens would not be open for them. That's bad souls. The gates of the heavens will not be open for them. وَلَا يَدْخُلُونَ الْجَنَّةِ. And they will not enter Jannah, meaning paradise, حَتَّى يَلِجَ الْجَمَلُ فِي سَمِّ الْخِيَاطِ. Until the camel penetrates and goes through the hole of the needle. سَمِّ الْخِيَاطِ. You know the needle? The little hole of the needle, if camel could go through it. So meaning that they will not enter Jannah. So the soul of the believers will be in na'im, in pleasure. And the soul of the disbelievers in the kuffar will be in the hell. Now, there are many authentic hadith about, when someone is a good person and he is in the grave, long story short and different narrations, that someone will come to him, Hasanul Hay'a, in very good appearance, looking good, and the person who deceased will see this person who comes to him to visit him, and he will say to him, Man ant? Wajhuka alladhi yaji'u bil khair. Who are you? Your face comes with good. He will say in that context, Ana amaluka salih. I am your good deed. I am your good deed. So the good deed will be in a person, in a form of person who has very good features, good looking, to come to visit the deceased and so forth. In different hadith, the grave will be expanded. The deceased will see, his place in hell, literally. And angels will say to him, look, and they will open a place in hell, and he will literally see the hell. And he will be afraid, and they will close it. Say, this is not your place. Had you been a kafir or a mushrik and died upon it, that would have been your place in the hell. They close it. And they will open, and show him his place in Jannah. And he will literally see his place in Jannah, see his family in Jannah, meaning his wives in Jannah, smell the fragrance in Jannah, and he will love to go. He will say, Allahumma aqim as-sa'a, Allahumma aqim as-sa'a, Allah make the qiyamah today. I want to go home so bad. I want to go to my family. Why? Because he sees Jannah, he sees, his wives in Jannah. If the person who deceased happens to be a male, and he will see what will attract him, and he will make dua to go to Jannah right away. So basically, there are different ahadith about, na'im al-qabr and so forth. Likewise, if someone dies and the person is kafir, did not, follow the deen of Islam and so forth, well, long story short, he would not be able to answer to the questions. So the person will be punished. He will see his place in hell, and the person will say, Rabbi, la taqim as-sa'a. Allah, do not make qiyamah. Do not make the day of resurrection. Why? Because this is a preview. If what he is going through now is a hell and punishment, what comes later is worse. And that is why, in authentic narration, Uthman ibn Affan, radiyallahu anhu, the third Khalifa, Abu Bakr, Umar, and then Uthman, whenever he speaks about al-Jannah wa nar, about the paradise and the hell, whenever he speaks about it, he keeps his composure. He is cool, calm, and collected. But whenever he sees a grave, he will literally cry till he soaks his beard with tears. And they will say to him, what's the matter with you? You speak about Jannah, you speak about the hell, but you're good. But when you see the grave, you will cry and soak your beard with tears. And he says, Al-qabru awwalu manzilin min manazil al-akhirah. Al-qabru awwalu manzil min manazil al-akhirah. Meaning, grave is the first destination towards the hereafter. If your grave is good, what comes after would be better. Yep. And if your grave is not good, وَالْعِيَاذُ بِاللَّهِ, what comes after will be worse. So yes, there are many hadith about Na'im al-Qabr. But the question that the soul will go and make sujood, I have no any dalil about. I have no any proof to make any comment about that. But yes, the soul of the believer will go up, and Allah Azza wa Jalla will command that the soul goes back to the body, because the body, the person will be raised up for question. Wallahu a'lam. Now, any question? Faddal ya akhi.
From the same
Yes, please.
issue, what happens when the person has been sinful?
The brother is asking what happens if the person, happens to be a sinful. Okay, let me put this in twofold. So let me say a Muslim, okay? A Muslim asi, Muslim fasiq. So Muslim, but he has mixed bag. You know what I'm saying? Good and bad deeds. But he dies upon La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah as a Muslim. So as I mentioned, the person will be asked questions. And I remember the ayah, يثبت الله الذين آمنوا بالقول الثابت في الحياة الدنيا وفي الآخرة ويضل الله الظالمين ويفعل الله ما يشاء. That does not negate that some Muslims would be punished. There are some Muslims who would be punished for, sins they have committed. For the sins they have committed. And there are ahadith to explain that. But in a nutshell, every person who dies would be questioned in the grave, period. The notion that is rest in peace. In other words, no question, the person just, goes to sleep. No, that's not correct. That's not true. Every person, good Muslim or bad Muslim, sinful or not, every person would be questioned. Now, the thabat, Allah Azza wa Jalla gives the thabat to strengthen and support and affirm those who believe bil qawl al-thabit, with the word that stands out. That is to say, La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah in dunya. And when the person dies, he has the ability to answer to the questions. But committing sins, that's a different platform altogether. The person, might be punished in the grave according to what he or she has committed in dunya. The person might be punished in the hereafter according to the level of his sins and so forth. Allah yaf'alu ma yasha, and Allah does what He wills. He forgives and so forth. And the deed will be placed on the mizan. Mizan means the scale of good and bad deeds and so forth. So it's a process. It's a process. Question? Naam.
First question, how long the punishment of the grave? And the second, for example, if some person, sick person is died, can somebody whose family is trying to do sadaqah?
MashaAllah. Jazakallah khair. So go ahead.
Another one, what about if a shaheed is died, we still have a question in the grave?
So 3 questions. Brother is asking, first, what is the time frame, the length, the time frame of the punishment in the grave? Second, when someone dies, can the family do good deed on his or her behalf, like sadaqah and charity and different kind of good deeds to change the condition of the deceased? And third, brother is saying that when someone dies as a shaheed, so would the person be exempted from any question in the grave and so forth? So first question first. No one can tell you about the duration of the punishment in the grave. No one. And anyone who claims to have ilm, to have the knowledge of how long, he has to prove it. He has to bring it without any reasonable doubt. In other words, bring the dalil min al-kitab wa sunnah, from the Quran or the sunnah. So al-ilmu inda Allah. This knowledge rests with Allah Azza wa Jal. Maybe someone might be punished for some time and Allah knows best. How long? There is no any dalil to explain the cut-off time. That's first. Second, someone dies, okay? And like the brother asked, he's a Muslim or she's a Muslim. But, the bottom line is that we all wrestling and struggling. Maybe the person has committed some sins. Is there anything that the family might do to change the condition of the deceased? The answer is absolutely yes. That's a very good one. I had a very good friend, and I just want to share this with you because it relates to the second part of the question. He was my childhood friend, very good friend, mashallah. Well, long story short, he traveled to one of the countries, and sometimes youth, someone takes it for granted, chasing dunya, and that's why we make dua. This is very important, that Allah Azza wa Jalla give us long life. I'll tell you something. I know I'm the youngest here, me and my friend here, we're the youngest, but here's the bottom line. When you grow older, with the mileage, with the long life, with the help of Allah Azza wa Jal, someone might change. It's like, what? Come on, man. Let bygones be bygones. You know what I'm saying? Gone are the days. One will say, لَيْتَ الشَّبَابَ يَعُودُ يَوْمًا فَأَخْبِرَهُ بِمَا فَعَلَ الْمَشِيبُ. We came a long way. We don't want to go back. And I remember, friends will say that, I remember when we were in the project, when we were in the hood, you know what I'm saying? We used to do stuff. But it's not, it's time to cut it out. Time to let go. So with the aging, you feel like, no, I don't want to be doing things that my own children are doing. You know what I'm saying? I'm now a grandpa. I'm a grandfather. I'm a grandmother. Cut it out. So sometimes it's good for you to turn the corner, to make tawbah, to do some more ibadah. And I will say this, and I'm going to put one brother on the spot. My brother here, Sheikh Al-Albani, when I grow up, I just want to be like the brother. And I'll tell you why. Allah al-Azim, I see him coming to the masjid. I love you all for the sake of Allah. And Wallahi al-Azim, I mean this from the bottom of my heart. I see the brother coming to the masjid for the salah. I'm like, man. He goes to work. After work, he comes to the masjid. During extreme weather condition, he comes to the masjid. Brings his son to the masjid, just like you do. And I just look at him like, mashallah. I mean, I'm not perfect. I'm the least here. I'm the least among you. But I look up to him like, when I grow up, I just want to be like him. So I'm saying this to say that the Prophet ﷺ said, خَيْرُكُمْ مَنْ طَالَ عُمُرُهُ وَحَسُنَ عَمَلُهُ. The best among you are those who have long life. طَالَ عُمُرُهُ, long life. وَحَسُنَ عَمَلُهُ, and he has ample amount of time to do good. That's the bottom line. Because the vice versa is someone who lives long and his deed is nothing but trash. He is not changing. That's bad. So, to the point, so that friend of mine, he died. And I had a dream about him. I'm just sharing this because it's personal to me. So I had a dream that we took an examination, and he failed. So I woke up. I did my prayer, I made dua for him. I knew him very well. You know what I'm saying? We're not perfect. So I called his brothers and sisters because we're related. So I called them, I told them, listen man, I had a dream about my brother. This and this. So I shared with them. I didn't keep it a secret. I said, yo, this brother needs your help. He needs your help. Make dua for him. Make sadaqah on his behalf. Perform hajj on his behalf. So I gave them, I shared this with them, not to put the brother down. No, that's not the point. Because I'm not better than him. But because it relates to the question, do sadaqah on his behalf, do khairun, sadaqah jariyah, perform hajj, on his behalf and so forth. Why? Because, yes, literally, someone who dies, his or her condition might change. Even if the person happens to be a sinful person, a fasiq, a bad person. Why? Because sadaqah jariyah, ceaseless charity, continuous charity goes a long way in the mizan of the person. So think about it. So you built a masjid for the sake of Allah Azza wa Jal, and that be a sadaqah jariyah for the person. Think about it. So the bad deed he has committed, there is a stop to his bad deeds. You know what I'm saying? Because he's dead. Now, but there is a chance for the sadaqah jariyah to go on and on and on. So, going on and on, the hasanat builds up and the sayyi'at just stop. Because there is no increment for the bad deeds. Do you understand? When someone goes and performs hajj, the family told me that someone went and performed hajj on his behalf, so I was happy about that. The Prophet ﷺ said, "Man hajja hadha al-bayt falam yarfuth walam yafsuq raja'a min dhunubihi kayawmi waladathu ummu." Whosoever performs hajj to this house, meaning to Kaaba, and performs hajj good, the person did not commit, any sin. The person did not spend, quality time, meaning there is no any relationship between the spouses during the time of hajj. And the person did not do any fisq, any disobedience, anything bad. After hajj, raja'a min dhunubihi. The person will return back to his home country after hajj, kayawmi waladathu ummuhu, like the day his mother gave birth to him. So I'm saying this to say that, oh, absolutely, yes, you can make a difference in the life of the deceased. You can change the condition in which he or she happens to be. The Prophet ﷺ said in authentic hadith, إِنَّ الرَّجُلَ لَتُرْفَعُ لَهُ الدَّرَجَةِ, that a person who deceased, male or female, a reward will be elevated for him. أَوْ لَتُرْفَعُ دَرَجَتُهُ, his rank, his position will be upgraded, will be elevated. And he or she literally would be astonished and ask, Anna li hada, where did I get this upgrade, this promotion, this elevation, this higher rank, this higher status? Where did I get it? because he knows that is not from him, it will be said to him, min du'a'i waladika lak. This came to you as a consequence of the dua, the prayer, the supplication, the invocation, the good deed, the sadaqah, the hasanat, the charity of your son or daughter or family or loved ones. So this is an icing on the cake, that those who deceased, they need us. But we have to remember them and make dua for them. And the last question, not the least, that shaheed, is you going to go through anything after death and so forth? There are different ahadith about, and I'll make long story short, some people would not be asked even in the grave. There are authentic ahadith about that. Some people would be exempted, would not be asked questions in the grave, period. And some people would be questioned, but it's just, you know what I'm saying? It's just a matter of, al-ard, meaning just to present. It's just a presentation. There are many hadith. And some people will not go through the punishment of the grave. Someone who dies, Laylat al-Jumu'ah, Friday night and so forth, happens to be, of course, believers and so forth. So there are many hadith. Now, having said that, listen to this. Having said that, a shaheed, with all his profile and his rank, there is one thing that would not go away. If he owes, if he has a debt, think about this. If he has a debt, he would not go free. This is something very important. If you read the Quran, the longest ayah in the whole entire Quran, from cover to cover, is ayatul dayn. In Surah Al-Baqarah, يا أيها الذين آمنوا إذا تداينتم بدين إلى أجل مسمى فاكتبوه وليكتب بينكم كاتب بالعدل ولا يأبى كاتب أن يكتب كما علمه الله فليكتب وليملل الذي عليه الحق وليتق الله ربه ولا يبخس منه شيئا فإن كان الذي عليه الحق سفيها أو ضعيفا أو لا يستطيع أن يمل هو فليملل وليه بالعدل واستشهدوا شهيدين من رجالكم فإن لم يكونا رجلين فرجل وامرأتان ممن ترضون من الشهداء أن تضل إحداهما فتذكر إحداهما الأخرى ولا يأبى الشهداء إذا ما دعوا ولا تسأموا أن تكتبوه صغيرا أو كبيرا إلى أجله ذلكم أقسط عند الله وأقوم للشهادة وأدنى ألا ترتابوا إلا أن تكون تجارة حاضرة تديرونها بينكم فليس عليكم جناح ألا تكتبوها وأشهدوا إذا تبايعتم ولا يضار كاتب ولا شهيد وإن تفعلوا فإنه فسوق بكم واتقوا الله ويعلمكم الله والله بكل شيء عليم. And then وإن كنتم على سفر ولم تجدوا كاتبا فرهان مقبوضة الآية. So I'm saying this to say that even shaheed, if he dies and he is indebted, he's in debt, it's not going to go away. That's why we have to be very mindful. When we take a debt, we should pay it off. Other than that, of course, we know the manaqib, the shuhada, and so forth. Na'am. The Prophet, the brother is asking a question that, is it true that during the time of the Prophet ﷺ, that when someone dies, the Prophet ﷺ would not lead and pray upon the deceased? That was correct. When someone dies, the Prophet ﷺ will clarify, will ask whether the person has a debt, and he will recommend the family to pay the debt, take care of it. And the Prophet ﷺ will pray on the deceased. If the person has a debt and the family are not paying, he says, Sallu ala sahibikum, make salat on your deceased. Now, after that, when the Prophet ﷺ have money and Baytul Mal, as Umar ibn Khattab radiallahu anhu established it, now the Prophet ﷺ has resources. Anyone who owes and the family cannot, afford to pay, the Prophet ﷺ will pay the debt, and then he will, of course, lead the prayer. This is to explain how serious it is to have a debt and not pay it off. So the statement is true. Yeah. Any question from sisters or from brothers? طيب تفضل. The brother is saying that if someone dies and he or she owes, well, let's assume that the person is single, and when he says that he doesn't have family, meaning we don't know, because I assume everyone has a family, close or distant relative and so forth. But it happens, someone dies, and maybe he doesn't have any close relative or family around that we know. Well, long story short, then if the community knows about it, then it becomes a duty upon us as a Muslim community to step up and do whatever we can for the sake of Allah Azza wa Jal to pay off the debt. Why? Because he's our Muslim brother. Why? Because we want to help him out. Why? Because we don't want him to be burdened by the debt. And also, to make this very clear, that it is one of masarif al-zakah, one of the disbursement of the zakah, إنما الصدقات للفقراء والمساكين, all the way. And then والغارمين. Those who are eligible for zakah, Allah mentioned them in the Quran. One of the category who are eligible, to receive zakah, والغارمين, those who are in debt. So when I come and see brother and give him salam and say, hey, what's up? I need help, man. I need some help. I have a debt and I don't have means to pay it off. So if there is zakah in the coffers of the masjid, then the board will, inshallah ta'ala, do whatever they do, due diligence, and help the brother. As long as the brother is known to be trustworthy, first we give everyone, benefit of the doubt. You know what I'm saying? Can we just check him out a little bit? Oh, of course, there is nothing wrong with that. But the bottom line is that he or she is entitled to zakat, to pay off his debt. Okay, so the answer is that if the person dies and the Muslim knows about it, they can help him out from the zakat money and pay his debt. Now, question? Fadal akhi. Yes, please. No. Brother is asking a question about someone who takes a loan. Okay? That's first. But then he used that to pay for his Hajj. Well, first, it is wrong. First, it is wrong to take a loan for the purpose of Hajj. That's first. Why? Because it means that the person he or she has no means to go to Hajj. Allah mentioned, وَلِلَّهِ عَلَى النَّاسِ حِجُّ الْبَيْتِ مَنِ اسْتَطَاعَ إِلَيْهِ سَبِيلًا الآية وَلِلَّهِ عَلَى النَّاسِ حِجُّ الْبَيْتِ مَنِ اسْتَطَاعَ إِلَيْهِ سَبِيلًا. Performing pilgrimage to Mecca is a duty that we, meaning believers, owe to Allah Azza wa Jal. مَنِ اسْتَطَاعَ إِلَيْهِ سَبِيلًا, those who can afford the expenses. So, in other words, the person has no means. So according to Sharia, he should not, or she should not borrow money to go to Hajj, because the person has no means. Khalas. Now, so let's follow up. Well, he did, or she did anyway. And then the person dies after that. So make long story short, it's not about the blame game. The person shouldn't have done that, but he or she already did that. And the person dies before paying off. Now, if the family have the means, it is a duty upon them, on the family, son or daughter or relative. They have to get themselves together and pay. If they cannot afford, and they reach out to the community, if the community can help out from the zakat fund, yes, then they can help and pay. The person is gone, so I don't want to bring him back and all of that. You know what I'm saying? So we have to do what we can do to help him or her out. Now, but let's say that the person is alive. Before he or she make that decision, the person will come to the imam. Can I borrow money for Hajj? No. That's it. You know what I'm saying, right? No. That's the answer. Now, let me just go further. Let me say that someone has a debt, okay? And then the person is making effort to pay off the debt. But at the same token, the person would like to make a provision to perform Hajj. Can the person do that? The person has a debt and he's paying incrementally, you know, bit by bit. But my question is, the person is like, I can try and pay, not to borrow, just pay for my Hajj, you know, and so forth. But I still owe. So my question to you all, to sisters and to brothers, what do you think? What's your counsel? What's your advice? What is your recommendation? I'll go to my friend. Use the mic.
No, because like he has to pay the debt first.
Come on here. That's right. You got this one. That's right. Absolutely. The answer is no. No. You owe. You gotta pay your debt. I mean, don't try to be smart. You know what I'm saying? You have a loan. Pay off. So you don't use the money and say, oh no, I'm gonna go to Hajj, maybe I'm gonna die. Okay, pay your debt before you die. Don't take the money and go for Hajj. But again, let's say that someone has a mortgage. You know what I'm saying? 30-year mortgage, 15-year mortgage, 10-year mortgage. I'm not gonna go into the fatwa about mortgage. I'm not talking about that tonight. So don't come and follow me on that. I'm just trying to make a point. Okay, Sheikh said I'm talking about halal mortgage. So long story short, and that, you know what I'm saying? So it's 30 years down the road, 15 years or 20 years. Now, can you go to Hajj? Can you make provision to go to Hajj while you paying your mortgage and so forth? What do you think? Sheikh Ilyas, you give him the mic. Give Sheikh Ilyas the mic. Go ahead.
Absolutely you can't. You have to pay your debt first.
Okay, you heard Sheikh Ilyas says that. No. Ilyas says no, absolutely not. You have to pay your debt first. But I'm still listening to you. What do you think? Go. Use the mic, please.
Just following up on the question that you asked. What if the person who's owed the money is not demanding that this be paid immediately?
Okay.
And he's saying, you know, he's willing to let them.
Okay. I
so
appreciate
in that case, my take would be that, you know, the person can go for Hajj and he can continue to pay incrementally.
Okay.
But if it was the opposite and he's demanding that the full payment be received at this moment, then he has to pay his debt.
Okay, I'll come back to that. Jazakallah khair for your comment. I'll come back to that. So now, 20-year mortgage, 15-year mortgage, can you go to Hajj while you still have a loan? Give it to Sheikh. Sheikh will not make it. You are calling my name.
No, what I was trying to say, we don't have a halal mortgage, so don't misunderstand the people. We're talking to the mortgage, or we're talking to like my brother or you. We borrow you the money and we pay. That's what we're talking about.
Okay, jazakallah khair. So brothers, what are you saying? Can someone go to Hajj? Give him the mic, please. Use the mic.
Because right now, who can have $1.5 million to pay cash right away?
Okay.
So mortgage, as long as you can afford that, you can pay your bills, your mortgage, and you save some money ahead of time, that you can go to Hajj.
Okay.
Because the mortgage, $1.6 million, now you buy a house, you cannot pay it once.
Okay.
So I think you can, because if you wait 30 years, if you're 40, you become 70, you might die before.
Okay. Gotcha. All right. What do you think, Sheikh?
If you go to Hajj and you have interest, how's that going to get?
Give it to Sheikh Ilyas. Say it again.
So if you go to Hajj and you're playing with interest, how do you expect your Hajj to be accepted in the beginning?
You mean you have a mortgage? Okay. What do you think?
Yeah, but if it doesn't cause you to struggle, later on. Like you pay the Hajj and you do the mortgage, and then it's fine.
Okay,
Like
no, you said it very well. But my question is that you have a loan, okay? It's 15-year loan. Now, should you put off the Hajj until you pay off, you know what I'm saying? Until you pay off your mortgage, which might take you about 15, 20, or 30 years? Give him the mic.
If you could do both at the same time, then
Okay.
it's fine.
Okay, Sheikh. Okay, okay. And you?
Because the loan has the condition that it's a monthly payment and the owner does not expect it back,
Okay.
then as long as you fulfill the conditions of the loan, which is to
Okay.
pay it back monthly, you can also go for the Hajj.
Okay, Sheikh Idris? Use the mic, please.
Okay. Okay, if we assume that the mortgage is halal mortgage, but any mortgage is still not under your name. Okay. You're still not owning the house. Basically, whatever happened will go back to the original owner. So you should go to Hajj and still have the mortgage.
Sisters, sisters, any contribution from the sisters? طيب. Jazakumullah khair for sharing. I really appreciate listening to you all. So, make long story short, this should be very clear. The answer is yes, you can. Let me repeat that. Yes, you can. You should not, under any circumstances, defer the Hajj, put the Hajj on hold, because you have 30-year mortgage. A brother spoke with me once. He said, Imam, I don't think I can go to Hajj. I said, why? He said, I have a mortgage, and it's 20-year mortgage, so I'm waiting until I pay off. I said, so do you have any agreement, you and Allah, that you're going to live for 20 years to pay off your loan or to pay off your mortgage? So listen to me. This is very important. As long as you have a means to perform Hajj, لِمَنْ اسْتَطَاعَ إِلَيْهِ سَبِيلًا, you have to make a provision, you have to perform Hajj. And the brothers, some of you said it very eloquently. As long as you meet the conditions that, meaning you agreed upon, and that you can do both. In other words, perform the Hajj, and at the same token, because it is monthly payment, you are not required to pay off 3 million, 2 million, 1.5, or $500,000 or less than that in just one payment. It's not required on you. So as long as you can afford to make your payment, you fulfill the agreement. So that should not, exempt you from Hajj. Just waiting. No. That's not correct. And that is misinterpretation of the understanding that, I have debt, so I have to wait until I pay off my debt. That is not correct. And secondly, like the brother said, for whatever reason, if you violated the contract or you cannot pay your mortgage, they take it away from you anyway. You cannot pay, right? Khalas. For whatever reason, you cannot pay, your family cannot pay. You're talking about halal mortgage. I get it. Trust me, even the halal mortgage, you cannot keep up. You cannot pay your halal mortgage. It's going to go away. They will not say because it's halal mortgage, you are halal brother. No, they will not let it go. You're not going to go with it. Now, seriously, they will take it away from you because you cannot keep up with it. Now, Mekhi.
I was just going to emphasize that it's actually you will be able to sell off and will not be in debt.
Jazakallah. Their brother is saying that, hey, if you think that you cannot, just let it go. And then take whatever you have, and then you don't have to be in debt. Now, brother, use the mic, please. We miss Musta'an tonight.
Yeah, he is here.
Oh, what is
He's
Musta'an?
playing, I think.
Oh, he's maybe. Okay, Fadal.
I have lots of friends. They have houses they bought long time ago, and he can go to Hajj. I told him a few times, if he sell his house, he can buy a house, 2-3 house payoff. And he still is saying, no, I don't go. Well, even he doesn't, like her mom is 65.
No.
Her mom wants to go. But he's like, no.
Well, Jazakallah khair for reaching out for your advice. Brothers, we have to take this very serious. Performing pilgrimage to Mecca is a duty upon us. It's part of fulfilling the pillars of Islam. You know that better than me. So we should not make excuse because we have And brother said that. If you want to sell the house, get rid of it. Sell it. If you can make a provision to perform your Hajj, you have to do it. But all what I'm just saying in a nutshell is that just to clarify that you have a loan. Don't say that it's an excuse that you don't perform. Let's come back to the dars here. Now, تفضل. Yes, please. I'm listening to you.
Somebody who paying a riba,
Yes.
how acceptable to go the Hajj? Are we talk about first, we can go the Hajj, somebody paying that, or we can say it's possible to pay before you shouldn't take mortgage, go to Hajj.
I'm listening to you.
You understand?
I guess I'm listening to
So that's my question is.
Okay, let me make a long story short. Like I told you, I don't want to make this about riba, mortgage. I don't want to, we just have to stick to that. I just brought this up to explain a point. But let me give you an example, like the brother is saying. Let's say a person has a mortgage. Listen to me very carefully. I'm going to make it as clear as I can. Okay? Let's go with the haram mortgage. Okay? I'm going to go all out. Someone has his house, he bought through the conventional banking system, dealing with riba. Okay? Okay, let's put it out. And then the person is committing his sin for whatever justification he or she might have. Listen to this. Now, beside that, the person is capable to go to Hajj. I'm not talking about from his riba money. I'm not talking about that. I'm making two statements. He has a house, which is conventional, from bank, whatever, right? But on the other hand, the person can afford to put some money on the side from his own earning, from his work, to go to Hajj. He or she must go to Hajj, period. Wake up. There is no justification to say that because the person has haram, he should not look out to perform his Hajj. No justification for that. And no dalil for that. In al-halala bayyin, wa in al-harama bayyin. The halal is evident and clear. His house is there. Okay? If he would like to sell off his house, mashallah, he should. Well, he's keeping his house for whatever justification for it. I'm not going there. I said, I don't want this to be about riba and mortgage. That's not my point here. But because the brother is clarifying this point, he bought the house from the bank. He's paying through the bank. I get it. He could put some money on the side from his halal earning, from his work, from her earning, from her work, and she could perform Hajj. Should she perform Hajj? Or you will say, no, the person has a house from riba, so no Hajj. What are you talking about? Are we understand what we're talking about? So the person who could perform Hajj should make a provision to perform Hajj, because we're talking about two separate things altogether. So let's not mix everything together here. Now, he want to sell the house, that's his business. He want to keep the house, that's his business. I don't want us to go in that because that's a different platform altogether and it's going to disrupt our halaqah tonight. But I'm just trying to make it very clear that that should not prevent the person to make a provision for Hajj because he has a house. Maybe from the bank. It's two separate issues altogether. He should make provision to perform Hajj. Make dua. Ask Allah Azza wa Jalla to help him get rid of that riba and do better. That's the bottom line. Any question here? Naam. Give him mic. So I'll go here and go to the brother and come to you. Naam.
Just to clarify that.
Fadl.
The income that you're using to go for Hajj has to be from halal sources.
Nah.
I just want to clarify that.
Jazakallah khair. And I'm going to come to your first comment.
Okay.
Your point is absolutely right. Inna Allah ta'ala tayyibun la yaqbalu illa tayyiba. Allah Azza wa Jalla is tayyib. Spare. He would not accept anything, any deed except that which is tayyib. That's why I made a point. When the person has a house from riba, okay, we got it. But on the side, he or she from his halal earning, her halal earning is different case altogether. I'm not saying you should go and take a loan, riba, and go to Hajj. Nah, I'm not talking about that. So it's different process altogether. Do you get it? It's two different, yes. But, you know, taking a loan, taking a haram loan from Hajj, no, that's out of the question. And the Hajj would not be accepted. The Prophet ﷺ said that whoever performs the Hajj and he says, لبيك اللهم لبيك لبيك لا شريك لك لبيك إن الحمد والنعمة لك والملك لا شريك لك, the angels will reciprocate and welcome you and say good and kind words to you and so forth. But the person who will go with the haram money, لا لبيك ولا سعديك, you are not welcome, you know what I'm saying? And your deed will be rejected, will not be accepted. So no Hajj with haram money and so forth. And the first point brother brought up, let's say that someone has a debt, but at the same token he or she would like to perform Hajj. Well, long story short, and he or she was able to have an agreement that the person he or she owes the money to is not in a rush. It's like, don't worry about it. You can give me, you know, at your own pace, blah, blah, blah. Listen to me. Pay off your debt. Pay off it. Don't take it for granted. But I get it. The person might be so kind. Say, you know, it's okay. You can just pay me easy as you go. Go to Hajj. I give you permission. You come back and continue. I would say no to the person who will take that as a good gesture to pay for Hajj. No, pay your debt. Because Hajj is not obligatory upon you. While you have a debt which you could pay it off. That's why I distinguish between a long-term incremental payment, 20 years down the road, 15 years down the road. That is different than when you owe someone 5,000, 6,000, and you want to pay 10,000 for your Hajj. Pay your debt. That's the bottom line. Don't accept that gesture that, oh, she's so sweet. You know what I'm saying? She said, go to Hajj, come back and pay. No, don't do that. Pay your debt. If you cannot perform your Hajj, Allah knows that you have no means. Now, I'll go to the brother and then I'll come here.
I just want to add more on what the brother, you were saying to the brother. Is that means like, the way I understand it, is that the person paying mortgage and then they have a side money, they can go to Hajj. So the mortgage is more like they're sinning just as someone's, you know, making zina or drinking. You cannot say you can't go to Hajj because you are a drinker or you are a sinner, right?
Yeah, that's exactly what I said.
Exactly.
That's exactly what I said. Exactly. I said mortgage is one thing. And then having halal money on the side to go to Hajj is two different things altogether. And we don't condemn the person that because he or she has a mortgage, don't go to Hajj. No, we don't say that. You know what I'm saying? No. Akhi, you have a question there? No, you already clarified. Oh, so I read your mind, huh? That's right. Fadal. Turn on the mic, please.
Just I want to say, you have to understand what the Sheikh is saying. Sheikh Eyman, he's my brother. Let's say he have a millionaire, and he gave it to me $1 million.
We all have millions and do khair with it,
yeah. Or any one of you. And he gave it to me $1 million, and he said, Mukhtar, I will loan you this $1 million and buy a house. Then we have agreement every month I have to give it to him 1,000 Sheikh Eyman. That's what the Sheikh saying. Is still, if you have extra money, like you food you're buying and you could save it, you could go to Hajj. That's what the Sheikh saying. Absolutely. He's not talking about the mortgage. He's not talking to anything, nothing to do with that.
No, that's not our topic.
Yeah, barakallah fikum.
No, barakallah fikum. Any question, Ikhwan? Sisters, brothers, any question? Any follow-up? Any clarification? طيب. ألا إن أولياء الله لا خوف عليهم ولا هم يحزنون. We have a few minutes to go. الذين آمنوا وكانوا يتقون. In the hadith, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, إنما ولي الله وصالح المؤمنين. Hadith Sahih رواه أحمد. طيب, let's take this one to the end of the page and we sign off. بماذا يحكم المسلمون؟ بماذا يحكم المسلمون؟ ما شاء الله, بارك الله فيك يا شيخ الياس, فتح الله عليك. With what should the Muslims have their rulings and have their judgments? So in other words, what should we use as a method of making judgment and making hukum, making rulings and so forth? يحكم المسلمون بالقرآن والحديث الصحيح. The Shaykh says that Muslims ought to use, Quran as means of making their judgment and making rulings, والحديث الصحيح, an authentic hadith. قال الله تعالى, Allah عز وجل mentioned in the Quran, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم, وأنحكم بينهم بما أنزل الله. This is Surah Al-Ma'idah. وأنحكم بينهم بما أنزل الله ولا تتبع أهواءهم واحذرهم أن يفتنوك عن بعض ما أنزل الله إليك فإن تولوا فاعلم أنما يريد الله أن يصيبهم ببعض ذنوبهم وإن كثيرا من الناس لفاسقون. وأن يحكم بينهم بما أنزل الله, and make a judgment amongst them. Meaning use the Quran, of course, and the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ himself, is the Quran, to make a judgment amongst them. So that's our kitab. وما كان لمؤمن ولا مؤمنة إذا قضى الله ورسوله أمرا أن يكون لهم الخيرة من أمرهم. It is not right. It is not correct. It is not acceptable. It's not justifiable for a believing man or a believing woman, when Allah Azza wa Jalla and His Rasul makes a judgment, a decision in any matter, that you have a second opinion or a second thought, or you have different opinion. No. So when you have dalil min al-kitab wa sunnah, from the Quran or from the statement of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that's it. It's finished. So وَأَنِ احْكُمْ بَيْنَهُمْ بِمَا أَنزَلَ اللَّهِ, and make judgment among them with that which Allah Azza wa Jalla revealed, with that which Allah Azza wa Jalla sent down in the Quran. وَلَا تَتَّبِعْ أَهْوَاءَهُمْ, and do not follow their desires. In other words, people will like you to sugarcoat, you know what I'm saying, to water down, to appease them, whatever, to turn something to, no, to bend the haqq, the truth. ولا تتبع أهواءهم واحذرهم أن يفتنوك عن بعض ما أنزل الله إليك. Watch out, be aware, be mindful that they might try to make fitna to you. عن بعض ما أنزل الله إليك, in some of that which Allah Azza wa Jalla sent down to you. They want you to change something a little bit because of their own wants and desires and so forth. One of the brothers who happens to be incarcerated, he said he wants halal pork. Halal pork. I'm like, get out of here. We don't have no halal pork. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it's jahiliyyah. Yeah, it's about dunya. So the person is like, I'm a Muslim, you know what I mean? But I want halal pork. Can't get it. No halal pork. No halal bacon. So, وَحَذَرُهُمْ أَن يَفْتِنُوكَ عَنْ بَعْضِ مَا أَنزَلَ اللَّهُ إِلَيْكَ فَإِن تَوَلَّوْا. If they turn away from you, you know what I mean, because they're not happy with what you're telling them, فَعَلَمْ أَنَّمَا يُرِيدُ اللَّهُ أَن يُصِيبَهُمْ بِبَعْضِ ذُنُوبِهِمْ. Know that Allah Azza wa Jalla wills to punish them, to inflict upon them, to seize them. أَن يُصِيبَهُمْ بِبَعْضِ ذُنُوبِهِمْ, to punish them with some of their sins. وَإِنَّ كَثِيرًا مِنَ النَّاسِ لَفَاسِقُونَ. Most of the people are rebellious, meaning disobedient. to Allah Azza wa Jalla and His Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. In the hadith, the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, عالم الغيب والشهادة أنت تحكم بين عبادك. عالم الغيب, the all-knower of the al-ghayb. Al-ghayb is the unseen, the unknown. أنت تحكم بين عبادك. Only you will make hukum in judgment between your slaves. In other words, al-hukmu lillah. The judgment is for Allah Azza wa Jalla. And that's why we have to be very mindful. When you hear anything, as long as this is, you have the nas, you have the textual evidence. Min al-kitabi was sunnah, there is no room for opinion, period. Textual evidence, you have the proof from the Quran, from the authentic hadith, there is no any room for opinion. And that's why Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhuma and Ibn Umar radiallahu anhuma, sometimes they take it personal and they will say to folks, I tell you, قال الله, قال رسول الله, وتقول قال أبو بكر وعمر. I'm telling you, Allah said, and that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, but you telling me قال أبو بكر وعمر. You telling me Abu Bakr said and Umar said. How dare you? You say this. But I just want you to know that the Sahaba Ridwanullahi ta'ala alayhim, they were very keen, very instrumental, very serious in keeping it straight. When you have the proof, min al-kitabi was sunnah, period. So Ibn Abbas took that personal, took that, hey, look, I'm telling you that Allah said this. And that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said this. Don't go. Don't do it. Don't tell me Abu Bakr. Don't tell me Umar. And it shows the passion. I get it. And I understand the hadith. عليكم بسنتي وسنة الخلفاء الراشدين المهديين عضوا عليها بالنواجذ. I get it. I know the hadith. But they're trying to make sure that they follow us, do the best they could to follow the kitab and follow the sunnah. And not to give room for any interpretation. They don't want to water it down. They don't want to sugarcoat it. As long as you have the authentic hadith, that's it. As long as you have the ayah in the Quran which is clear, you don't budge. I understand sometimes it's very hard. Some people will push back and try to say, no, we have differences of opinion. Some people will say, اختلاف أمتي رحمة, which is weak or fabricated and so forth. The differences of my ummah is mercy. No. I'm telling you the kitab, I'm telling you the authentic sunnah, and you going broad. That اختلاف أمتي رحمة, or that is weak, or that is unfounded. That the differences of my ummah is rahmah. People say such a statement to get away with it. You know what I'm saying? To get away with it, to go into gray area. We have differences of opinion, so no. You have the Quran, you have authentic sunnah, and that's what it is. To be continued. سبحانك اللهم بحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. سبحانك اللهم بحمدك. جزاكم الله خير.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. 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 أشهد أن لا إله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله